Now, if you're struggling with self sabotage and you don't know where to start, here, right here on this podcast, we're building the community. I want to remind you breaking self sabotage patterns takes time. You've been operating like this for years, every decade, like I was. Be patient with yourself. Celebrate the small wins. We're building a community of people committed to breaking these cycles. Bianca, can you hear me now? Thank you, Bianca Williams, 7014. Appreciate you for chiming in uh, off of our YouTube platform at that. Thank you very much. Um, Please let me know if you can hear me now. I have activated the other mic and I'm hoping that you can hear me. Yes, you can. Okay, there we go. So, as I was saying, we are grateful for the warmth. Uh, we're thanking God for the warmth. If you live in Detroit, then you know what I'm talking about. After the past couple weeks of sub-zero temperatures, uh, I think I could speak for all Detroiters saying, "Okay, we're grateful for the warmth, the little heat up that we got. Even the small as it is, we're grateful for that." So, we're thanking the supreme master or overall being for the warmth. Thank you. Um, yeah, you do live in Detroit. Okay. Welcome, welcome. I appreciate you coming to the show. You got any questions? This is our live Q&A session. So, if you have any questions, this is the perfect time to ask them. I will provide you with as much information as I can. If you want to know anything personal about me, I am an open book. I'm willing to tell you anything as dirty and as gritty as it gets because I believe in transparency. I didn't used to live a transparent life. I used to live multiple personalities in my life. So, uh that was a coping mechanism from my trauma, trying to blend in to everybody who is around me so I could fit in to minimize conflict. Okay. So, ask me anything if you want, Miss Bianca Williams. I will be happy to answer any question that you have. I do have some information for you guys today. As I said in the last Q&A, if there aren't any questions, um, I will still divulge information and disseminate information to the viewers, people who download and all that other kind of fun stuff. And I appreciate everyone who comes and checks out this show. This that means a lot to me. And you guys don't realize how many of you are really starting to pay attention, and it's getting there. Um go right ahead, just here to listen. Okay, that's fine. You know what? That's another thing with me. With this show, this platform is not meant to push anybody or force anybody to do anything. I'm just giving information. If you choose you want to ask, that's fine. That's why I created the Tuesday sessions for people who might have questions, for people who might want to ask something that they might be going through. They might want to ask me how I got through a certain situation. So, yeah, Tuesdays. This is what we do on Tuesdays. I still get information, but this is the crust of it. Interaction. I want interaction. I want to help. From a survivor point of view, survivor to survivor. I would like to give you what I went through to help me get to where I am. You know, I might be the longest case study. I'm joking about that. I don't know, but I'm 54 years old and I just started seeing a therapist last year. So it took me a lifetime to start realizing, hey, I need help. I need to see somebody. I'm tired of these cycles that I keep going through. And, I went through a lot. So I got a lot of experience with this stuff. And, I'm not all the way there yet. A matter of fact, like I said, I just started. So I'm sure I'm still in the beginning of getting back what was stolen from me. So, um, before we get started, there is something I wanted to do that I haven't been able to do until now. Is that I wanted to acknowledge the listeners, but I haven't been able to acknowledge. Of course, not by name. I can't acknowledge people by name, but I can acknowledge the places that people are viewing from. So I'm not going to say how many people here, how many people there, but I would like to say um, the cities the people are viewing from: uh, Detroit, Michigan; North Bergen, New Jersey; Dayton, Ohio; Hobart, Tasmania; Baytown, Texas; North Charleston, South Carolina; Council Bluffs, Iowa; San Francisco, California. Don't crucify me if I messed his name up. I'm not trying to. Um, Falkenstein, Saxony; Boardman, Oregon; Lansing, Michigan; Centerville, Ohio; New York, New York; Whitehall, Michigan; Las Vegas, Nevada. Okay, here's another hard one for me. Please forgive me if I butcher this. I don't mean to, but I do want to acknowledge you. Uh, Seongnamsi, Jeongji Do. Uh, I pretty much figure I butchered that. I'm terrible at trying to say some of these names, but I am trying, and I do want to acknowledge you. I do acknowledge you. East Point, Michigan, Townsville, Queensland, Royal Oak, Michigan, Indianapolis, Indiana, and Sydney, New South Wales. Okay, I appreciate you all for joining the show. Uh, and those countries that they are hailing from include the United States, Singapore, Australia, Germany, South Korea, India. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for viewing, downloading, and listening to this live broadcast and subsequently the podcast. Um, I thank you all for your appreciation and your continued support. Okay, now I'm after that I'm going to get into the crust of our show. Uh the meat as we would like to say it. Right now we are live obviously on YouTube. Our YouTube channel is oh, that's right. I could do that. See, I'm learning as I go. So I could post this. Bam. Look at that. Now it's on the screen right there down here. Okay. You can follow us on our YouTube channel. That's where Miss Bianca Williams is commenting from. And thank you for the congratulations. And I'm glad I was able to make you smile there. Um, yes, you can view us on YouTube through our Terror to Triumph live channel. And you can also view us on our Buzzsprout platform, which is our audio podcast. You can go back and check out all our podcasts there and our live broadcasts on YouTube. YouTube also has a podcast that uh, supports our show, but if you want to listen to the audio podcast on other platforms, you can. And real quick, I'm gonna run through the list. Uh, my podcasts are on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Twitch, Spotify, Podcast Index, Deezer, Player FM, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Overcast, Castro, Castbox, Good Pods, True Fans, obviously YouTube podcast and Buzzsprout. So we have all of those. And I don't know if I mentioned Podchaser, but we do have that one too. Um, and we're open for anyone who wants to accept the show on their platform. Please contact us on terror, the number two, triumph at gmail.com. Or if you want to be a guest on the show, you can also go to terror, the number two, triumph at gmail.com and drop us a line. Let us know that you want to be a guest on the show. Or if you have a comment, or if you want to share something to me personally, that's fine too. You can contact me there. Okay, now back to the meat of the show, right? Okay, so we talked about why survivors deny. If you see the camera shake, I just noticed that. I'm sorry, y'all. If you see the camera shaking, please forgive me. That's me kicking the tripod. I'm sorry. I don't mean to kick it. I'm like I'm saying, I'm new to this. I'm trying to get it together, y'all. So bear with me. Oh, my co-host is not here on Tuesday. She's with me on Saturdays. Our schedule is had a little conflict. As I work midnight, she works mornings, and since we're both off on the weekends, that's when we were able to do the Saturday info sessions. So I ended up doing the Tuesday Q&A sessions by myself. So that's what happened with that. Much blessings to her. I miss you, Storm, because I love your presence on my show. But we will forge on. So here we go. We talked about why survivors deny. We talked about the signs. Now we're talking about the hardest part. How do you love someone who's in denial? How do you keep your heart open to somebody who's closed off in that regard, in that portion of their lives? They feel like they don't want to acknowledge it, but you can feel their pain. And as a survivor, obviously, you would know that they're going through something, even if they're in denial about it. So that right there is the crust of why we're here today. We're going to talk about this. We're going to get into it. So let's talk about it. All right. So here's how to love someone in denial. First, foremost, and the most critical thing about the whole thing is you have to accept, as the person who's trying to love or is in love with somebody who's in denial about their trauma, their childhood trauma, or whatever kind of trauma that they have suffered. You have to accept and acknowledge the fact that you cannot force them. You can't go to them and say, "You need to talk to me. You hurt me by that." Don't do that. Do not. A person who has suffered trauma, if you try to force them by giving them ultimatums, they will leave immediately. Yep, we'll bust up. Stop beating up the mic. That's not the mic I'm beating up. That's the camera, actually. Let me shake it. Yeah, that's the one I'm kicking, not the mic. But sometimes I do hit the mic too. So I'm sorry, Mike. Sorry about that. They ain't mean to beat you up. But if you notice that, I might be hitting it a little bit here and there. So I apologize about that. Um, yeah, sorry, Mr. Mike. But you can't force them. That's the quickest way to make a survivor leave. That right there, when you start giving ultimatums to a survivor, that's a red flag. That's like, I got to get the hell up out of here. You're not about to force me to relive something I don't want to. No, no, don't do that. If you love the person, if you really, really love the person, do not give ultimatums. Don't try to force them to open up that part if they're not ready. The truth is, they may never be ready to open up. Some survivors go through things they never want to talk about again, not even to a therapist. You have to accept that they may never tell you. And that's hard because that means that you're going to continue to see them suffer, or they may hurt you in the process. And then if you're not willing to deal with that, then you might want to leave, which of course us as survivors already feel like this person's going to leave me. We already are thinking it in our heads. We're saying they're going to leave. Some because that's our trauma talking. We're looking for cracks in your armor already. They're going to do something. That might be a thing that we do where we are testing you to see if you're going to leave. Trauma has us act as survivors. It makes us act in different ways than a normal person would rationalize. And that's what I'm trying to tell people on this show. Trauma messes you up in ways you don't even realize it's messing you up in. Until you have somebody say things to you over and over again, it might click, if you're not as slow as I was, where it took 54 years, you know, it might take you a few years, you know what I'm saying? But we all travel and move at different paces. Some person might move at the speed of light, while another person might move like a snail. You know what I'm saying? So you can't judge one by another because we're all different mentally. It's a one-on-one basis, and the person you with may not move like I did, but the situation will be similar in the regard that if you're not getting the response, if they're saying they don't want to talk about it or they're fine, nothing's wrong, nothing happened, or that's in the past, I'm beyond it, and they never sought therapy or anything like that. But you can see the red flags that we talked about in the past episodes, in the past Q&A, and they're exuding these flags. They're suffering still, but they're suffering in silence. They don't want anybody to know that they're suffering. And I know because that was me. I can tell you from experience. I didn't want nobody to know that I was raped as a kid. I didn't want nobody to know that. I mean, who goes around and say, "Oh yeah, what's up, Johnny? By the way, I was raped. Yeah, my mama raped me. Yep, yep. Last week. Hmm. She got me good too." Who has that kind of conversation? Nobody has that kind of conversation. If you're a trauma survivor, you're not talking about it. Period. You're not opening your mouth to talk about that. Ain't nobody you could talk to about that, first of all. If you haven't had a conversation with your children about inappropriate behavior, inappropriate touching, and coming to you to talk about those things, regardless if somebody says, if you touch somebody, I'm gonna kill you. If you tell somebody, I'm gonna kill them. I'm gonna kill your whole family. I don't care what they say. But if you don't have these conversations with your kids, they're gonna clam up. They're gonna stop talking to you and everybody else because they feel the person that they trusted the most, they that safety net was cut off. Pew, 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 pew. So then we can't trust you. You're supposed to be protecting me. You put me with somebody that violated me. So how can I trust you? Now, in my mind, as a kid, I can't trust none of y'all. None of y'all are trustworthy. The most trusting person I'm supposed to have in my life, I can't trust. So that means none of y'all, because y'all all under her, none of y'all I could trust. That carries on into our adulthood, y'all. That's trauma carrying on into our adulthood. We want to find love. We see love relationships. We see people kissing and hugging in public and stuff. We say we want that. In our hearts, we actually do. But when we engage into relationships, that's going to be problematic because if we're in denial, we're not acknowledging what's going on in our heads and our nervous system and our bodies, how we feeling. We're not telling our significant other about the situation that we've been through or why we're acting because we don't know. We haven't talked to anybody to find out why we're acting this way. We think we're acting normal. We actually rationalize this as being normal. Nobody's there to tell us different. Some people might realize a little flag here and there. Let me tell you something. I just told you, my mother is the one that raped me, right? Okay, so my mother later on realized the change in my behavior, And she came and told me she had a little conversation with me, pulled me to the side and was like, "We don't talk like we used to." Red flag number 1. She said, "You used to be so happy, you used to go around and dancing and playing and talking to everybody. Now you don't do that no more." Red flag number 2. Now you want to sit up in your room outside, I mean upstairs in your room all day by yourself. You don't go outside anymore. You used to go out in the backyard and play with the neighbors. Now you don't even want to do that. Red flag number 3. She saw all the red flags. I don't know what to say after that. She saw all the red flags after she caused the trauma to me. My grades started failing. That was another red flag, flag number 4. So sexual assault, mental assault, verbal assault, physical assault. She was giving me all these, all 4, the 4 horsemen, as I call them. She gave all 4 to me. What was I supposed to do with that as a kid? And you think about that for a minute. So, with all that, this is the last person on earth I said I could trust. I can't trust you with nothing. I can't trust to tell you what's on my mind. I can't trust you with anything. I got many whoopings after that because I wouldn't open my mouth to tell her anything. I would get in trouble. I would get blamed for stuff I wouldn't open my mouth about because I felt like if I said anything, I was going to get worse. I clam up. I try not to exacerbate the situation, even though I didn't know what that word meant back then. I try not to escalate it by keeping my mouth closed. Okay. So, as an adult now, we're talking about going off into adult without seeking no help, without seeking a trauma informed therapist or a master therapist trained in EMDR. So, having none of that, or even a platform like this where you can listen to people who have suffered like I have, not having these platforms, not having these outlets, I shoved it all down inside, okay? And I just said I had to deal with it. But I can't deal with it right now because right now I'm in survival mode. I got to make it out of here alive. And as many days I didn't think I was gonna do that. Try to take myself out a couple of times. And you know what I mean by that unaliving, as we like to say, because we can't use the S word. Okay, we could use the S word here, suicide. I tried to commit it twice as a child, okay? Once as an adult. I thought about it real hard. Took a lot out of me not to do that as an adult, but I'm a carrying on into adult life, not acknowledging it was there, not seeing my own red flags, okay? So these are things that if you're in a relationship with a person who has childhood trauma, who is in denial, these are things you're going to have to deal with. And I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything, but I'm being 100% honest. You know, I think the best person for a trauma survivor to be with is with another survivor because they can understand each other. And being with a person who hasn't survived childhood trauma, it might be a kind of a difficult thing to try to get them to understand your way of thinking and how you're trying to change your thought process back to normal if you're seeing a therapist who is helping you trying to do that. If you're not seeing a therapist and you're in denial, that relationship is in trouble. It's in real trouble, y'all. But hey, I'm just here for a friend. I'm trying to tell y'all the truth because I've experienced two failed marriages. Okay. The first one was kind of on both sides. Second one was lopsided on me. You know, I did a lot of that because of my trauma. So keeping things closed, not talking, you know, because it was hard for me to open up about it, extremely hard. It took to the end where I was crying, trying to talk about it. It was so difficult to even say this stuff. I don't think she even realized how hard it was for me to say it. And that was like 8 years in, y'all. That that's how hard it is for us survivors to even try to mention it. That's the only reason really I'm trying to see a therapist now because that was the click moment for me. I had to say, hey, something is amiss. I can't keep going through life like this. I'm 54 years old. I can't keep going in these cycles. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this messed up relationships. I'm tired of not getting my head right. I'm tired of self sabotage. I'm tired of it. I don't know why I'm doing these things. I can't explain it, but I know I'm doing it. Even when I say I'm not going to do that again, I end up doing it again. And I'm trying to rationalize why. Why did I do that? Why? Why? I asked myself, why? Why did you do? That's the trauma. Well, boy, I'm telling you, when you messed up with trauma, it's really a bad thing. But if you seek help, it could be a great thing because now you have experience to help somebody else who is suffering like you were, like I am with you now. Okay. So, okay, I spoke all that time and I just spoke our time up. It's 32 minutes into the show. I was only supposed to be on 30 minutes. Okay. But I'm gonna run through the rest of it with you right quick because I told you I was gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna say this to the next show. You know what? I can save it for the next live. That's yeah. So number two, we're gonna talk about stop trying to convince them. Okay. That's the next one we're gonna talk about. But I just want y'all to know I love y'all. I want y'all to be safe. I want y'all to have happy and productive lives. I'm here to mitigate the gap between suffering and finding help because there is no gap right now. I mean, because there is a huge gap right now, and nobody is suffering more than the trauma victim who feels like there's no one going through what they're going through, which is a lie. That's a lie from the pit of hell. There's a lot of trauma survivors out here. I say this statistic often. College did a study just on America now. One one study that they did. I mean, they did many studies in the study, but what they found is for every 10 Americans, 4 to 6 have suffered some form of trauma, childhood trauma, physical, mental, verbal, or sexual, the four horsemen. Okay. So if it's 4 to 6 out of every 10, if you say 1 million people, that's 400,000 to 600,000 people. Do the math. We're in America. It's over 360 million people here. You talk about 40 to 60%. And the statistics went on to say from the study that number is diminished because most people who have suffered trauma do not report it. I didn't report mine. I didn't go to the police. I was scared. So imagine that number could really be like 80 to 90%. People all around us. I'm because of this show, it has me waking up to look for red flags in people, and people everywhere are showing red flags, y'all. on the job, on the bus, everywhere, everywhere, man. It's crazy. It's a lot of people out here suffering, and nobody's opening up this dialogue. So I'm doing it. If I got to tell my whole nasty, gritty sob story, my repulsiveness that this trauma has brought me through and to, I'm gonna share everything if it's gonna help one person. I don't care if I have to diminish myself, if I have to make myself look bad. This show is dedicated not to me, it's dedicated to you, the survivors. Somebody need to start talking about this stuff openly, because that's the way you defeat trauma. You defeat it by opening your mouth and speaking your truth, telling about your pain. You can't sit still in silence and expect it to get better. It doesn't. You can't receive healing if you don't start asking for it. And asking for it means you have to acknowledge it. You don't acknowledge it, you suffer. The people around you suffer. Your job suffers. Your kids suffer. Your significant other suffers. Your family suffers. Everybody suffers. Estranged relationships with my family, yeah, trauma. But my family is, they've been through trauma too. My brother, my sisters, we all had trauma. And all the four horsemen, all of them from our parents. So yeah, our family is estranged. And now I'm understanding why. My therapist and this show helps me to understand why me and my family don't talk. Talking acknowledges the pain. You don't want to feel the pain. So you clam up, you keep quiet, you stuff it down. I remember my sister, not gonna name no names. So when my sister had a surgery, it was a very serious surgery. I didn't find out until after she had the surgery. And I had to find out because me and my nephews play video games. So we're on Xbox. And I'm playing a game. And my nephew said, "Oh, yeah, by the way, my mama had surgery, blah, 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 blah." You're not going to tell me you had a serious surgery? You're not going to say nothing? Trauma, trauma, boy, it's real. Whether you want to believe it or not, it's all around you already. Most of your family members, most of your friends, people who will look at you and smile in the face, people who look the sharpest, dressed out, they got the freshest cut, they got the nicest hairdo or whatever, dressed to the T. Trauma. They trying to mask it. Oh, he got the biggest car, he got the biggest rims, he got the dope jewelry, he got the rings, he got trauma. You trying to compensate. This is bigger than what y'all believe it is. This is big, way bigger. And people try to smother. They try. I know I did when I had money. When I was working at a good job back in the day, I was smothering my trauma, trying to buy my stuff to appease myself, so I didn't feel bad about this stuff I was feeling. Trauma, trauma 101, y'all. So, Miss Bianca Williams, I thank you for being on the show. We're gonna have to end this at 40 minutes. I'm 10 minutes over, but this was necessary. I had to get this information out to you. If you are listening to the show, you can come and support the show by visiting www.pelts Emporium. Pelts Emporium sells sportswear, gear, shoes, hats, hoodies like this, Well, it's got designs. They're way better than this. But you can go there and you can buy items off of that website. The proceeds from the purchases that you make there supports this podcast. Okay, so please go to peltsemporium.com, peruse, buy some stuff. That way you can show people, hey, I support a noble cause. Then this was something that I could, show others that I support. And you could tell friends, hey, go check out this site. I think you might benefit from this guy who this knowledge. He has a lot of stuff that he's sharing. Parents, especially tell parents because this show was made for people who have kids. Okay. Because when I was young, I went through it. Okay. I wish I had parents that could know what to do, what not to do. They don't, they're not here. My parents are both deceased. But I can't tell them, but I could tell you and I can bring the knowledge to you so you can keep an eye on your kid's behavior, so you can see the red flags in your kids, or look at the red flags of people around your kids and say, okay, I don't want you to be by them. Can you stay away from them? Or matter of fact, I'm not gonna have you over here anymore. We're gonna go over here. So keep your kids safe. I want y'all to please, please, please listen to this podcast because I have a lot of information to give. Look at the past episodes, go on YouTube at our channel, Terror to Triumph Live, and peruse all the videos. And it's a myriad already since October. We started in October last year, but there's a lot of shows, a lot of information given out in those shows. And it will blow your mind if y'all would just go back and look. But I'm gonna keep going forward because I want people. Yes, I'm beating up the mic again. I'm gonna keep going forward because I want you guys to really, really come out from under the veil of darkness, sadness, sorrow, regret, fear, shame. I want y'all to get out of that. I want y'all to be the people that God meant you to be. Help is closer than you think. Okay. So thank you for joining us. And we appreciate you being here. Have a good week.